Well, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm Aaron from Gideon's Tactical, hanging out with Aaron from Houghton Era Outdoors.
What's up, you guys?
He and his brother are the designers of the Tops knives.
Brush Wolf
that we recently reviewed. Rad blade. And in this video, guys, we're gonna take a look at another knife that when I met you, Aaron, you immediately were like, dude, have you tried this blade? And I was like, no, I've never gotten around to it. And you were like, you have to try it out. So we're out here doing a backpacking trip in Florida, and you have brought with us today what?
So today we got the Tops Tannenboco PUUKKO. And so this is a great design. It's very versatile. I love it because it doesn't restrict your hand. Wherever you need to put a finger or your hand or grab it, you can do it. And it's a great EDC knife. But then if you're more on the bushcraft, like wilderness side of things, it does everything great out in the bush, which we'll take a look at in a bit.
Sweet. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in today, take a look at it, play around with it, see what it can do, and give you guys some pointers on maybe how to use it. You've been using it like what, 2.5 years now? This is your blade for like the last 2.5 years. So let's go ahead and dive in, guys, and take a look at this PUUKKO. So Aaron, tell me a little bit about this blade. Like what makes you connect with it and why you've loved using it for so long?
Basically the main thing is, well, I like the history of the PUUKKO design. It's just a very primitive kind of do everything little tool that's lightweight. And the reason, I don't know, I've got extra large hands and it just seems to fit my hand, even though it's a small blade at being 3.5 inches overall. And it just fits my hand. I can kind of manipulate it I can use 2 thumbs on it, and I feel like I'm in control with it, where I'm not gonna cut myself. And it's just easy to do all my little small tasks. And then, we'll show later, but it's got the full 90-degree spine. And so we'll start the fire up with the ferro rod. It's got the ambidextrous bow drill notches. So that's good, because if you hold your spindle with your left hand or your right hand, you can flip the blade so that it's away from you as you get down, and which we'll demonstrate in a few. But right now I'm actually getting the bow ready to do a bow drill. So I just got some pine out here in Florida, and this stuff is like super tough. But I'm just doing a square notch completely around this piece of pine so that I can tie my paracord in here.
Well, and the way that's biting is all. What type of grind does that have exactly on it?
So this is Tops Scandi Vex. So you can see it comes down into a Scandi grind, but then they have that final little secondary cutting edge on it so that you actually get a stronger edge. If it goes to 0 or 1 or whatever a true Scandi goes, sorry, I'm no like grinding expert, but like
yes.
The Scandi and then the convex on that secondary bevel adds strength to the blade. So like I've batoned with this thing, like it's 5.1 ounces, and we'll baton with it and just beat on this tip. It doesn't go anywhere because of Tops' awesome heat treat that they've been doing for just over 20 years now. So we'll get into that too. But yeah, so I'm just gonna finish up this notch and then tie up the cordage. But I just have the control with both of my thumbs on it, so it feels safe to use, where I'm not gonna slip, and you can get your whole hand wherever you need it.
Yeah,
so that,
and I want to park on that for just a second. I mean, guys, I've talked about this in my first PUUKKO video that I ever did, is that like no guard can be intimidating for a certain amount of people, and like, oh man, am I gonna slide up and like hurt myself? But and I feel like a PUUKKO design is more of like a pro knife, if that makes sense. If like you're getting to a place in your knife usage where you're like, okay, I trust myself, I trust my skills, and it gives you the ability to have even more control over a knife, because a guard removes you away from the edge. I mean, we can see just with your finger.
Yeah,
like right on it, but you trust yourself. You trust the design of the knife itself to be able to do that, and it gives you more control, more capability.
And the cool thing is like I can grip it fully with this finger, so I'm not worried. And then with the micarta scales, even like it's wet, it's humid out here in Florida right now, and I'm not worried about my hands slipping on this. And I just feel like some knives that have like a double choil or a huge choil or a hilt, it restricts your hand placement options for small tasks. So you almost have to have a knife like this. That's why all the experts use PUUKKOs and just smaller blades and Scandi grinds, and you know, and I feel like this one is like a very good total package. So there's my square notch. I got this done.
See this.
And then we're gonna tie off.
That was sweet, yeah.
And then we're gonna tie off the cordage so we can attempt a bow drill fire.
Nice.
Hopefully I can do it. Usually I can. We'll see. All right, so I got the bow ready. And so I'm just gonna, I brought a piece of cedar because all the wet oak is super hard. I'll be honest with you. Like,
so you packed that piece in.
I brought this in. I'm cheating right now. So I've got some cedar. Cypress and willow is really good to use for bow drill, but it's really hard to find here in Florida.
So what do you do? What do you do? Like, as an example, me being originally from Colorado, like we basically have like aspen and pine is like 80% of the wood I'm ever going to encounter out in the woods. So like, what, like, do I just got to work with it, or like? Yeah,
you just got to learn to work with it. And this is like a white pine, and I mean it's rock hard, this stuff, and so is the oak here, and it's just extra hard to work with. I've done bow drill with a pine spindle and a cedar board, and I've almost gotten a hand drill fire with a pine base. It's super hard.
Wow. Okay.
It's really hard.
Good
I mean,
know.
The guys that can do this proficiently, like every try, props to them, man, because it's a hard skill to practice. So I've got my wrist locked and the blade's facing away from me, so it's fairly safe. Even if you choose to not keep the knife in the sheath while you do this, I just still like to have the freedom on my hand to move it and adjust it if I have to without the sheath being in the way. Some of you guys would argue like, oh, it's not safe, but I'm not worried about cutting myself where the blade is right now. You don't want to breathe on it because the moisture from your breath can affect your coal. Wow. It's very, yeah. And carefully get this out so I don't break it. It's like a little baby. Yep, there she is.
Nice.
Oh, thank you, God. There we go. And then when we see that glowing orange, yep, there it is. That is a happy sight. So, bow drill notches in this, in the tandem book of PUUKKO, made by Tops, is awesome, man. I love this thing, ambidextrous, and you get a nice glaze. I've never worn out my Carta bow drill notches. My brother's PUUKKO, his is like black and really wide, and like definitely he's done more bow drill fires, but yeah, and his still is fine. All right, let's blow this up. We'll get the flame and we'll start the fire. Let me go get my my pine needles.
Yeah, bro.
There we go. There we go.
Way to go, man.
There we go. That was hard. It's like 90 degrees outside. I'm all sweaty. That was tough.
But so, you did it. You got it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing that to us and how to do that. So it's been sweet seeing Aaron working with this tool, and I've had a chance to play with it quite a bit, do some fuzz sticks. I mean, you know, this style of blade is going to be able to do all of the woodwork super well. Still pounded on it, you know, for some light batoning, harder notching if you need to. Just do a big square notch. You can thwack on that spine. You're not going to be worried about it, or the handle's loosening up. And that really brings us into, you know, the handles itself. With no guard, again, you got to trust your skills a little bit more than with knives with guards, but because of the way that the handle has been contoured, it's nice and full, 4 inches overall length, fills out my large size hands super nicely, scalloped on either side there, so you can really do like a pinch pull if you need to. And I just like that there was no area where I felt like a finger was like floating maybe, or just didn't have the leverage that it needed in any grip that I wanted. So I really like that aspect of it a lot. And then again, the different accents that you have with the screws, and then with the bow drivet holes, and then the extra holes for lashing, or just, you know, adding a little, I guess you could do like a paracord guard almost if you just want to wrap that around there. Just kind of give you something to grab onto a little bit more. So lots of options there with the handle design itself. But I mean, for, I would say a smaller size PUUKKO, Goran Markovic, I'm really sorry I'm butchering your last name, but great design overall. I mean, I'm really impressed for a PUUKKO. I mean, this is sick. And for this pricing, which is going to go for about $100, I know Tops is trying to do their best and crank out stuff, but you know, supply chains and just all the different stuff going on. So when they are available, they're going for about $100. You're getting a lot of tool for what that cost is, you know, American made with that 1095. So pretty sweet overall. Let's go ahead and touch on the sheath real quick before we wrap up. So leather sheath that it comes with, Tops has been doing awesome lately with their leather and Kydex sheath options. This has got a double stitch, so really well done. We do have a little tiny drainage hole right there. Good wear, Aaron, you've obviously been using this quite a bit. And then good stitching back there, big enough for pushing probably a 2-inch belt right there. And then enough to pinch and pull out, but still really good retention. And I'm assuming you haven't like wet formed this, right? Nothing. Yeah, so I mean, that's totally good. Righty only, but for the style of the knife and like all leather, this just kind of really molds together, and I think really kind of accents the tool itself really well, carries it very easily, and is a great combo to the knife. Well, I love seeing the love and abuse on this tool. And I just want to thank you, Aaron, for coming out today and hanging out with us and you know, walking us through this blade and what it can do. And so, guys, if you're into PUUKKOs, or you know, you're wanting to jump into that design, you know, you've never really owned one, this one I think has a lot of capability, and you're going to get not only the quality that we know from Tops and just, you know, all of that, but the functionality of this tool is epic, and yeah. I'm really pumped to see what you guys think about it as well. So leave a comment below, particularly if you own one already, what's been your experience with it, and ask any questions about the PUUKKO design in general, and we'll do our best to answer that in the comment section below. Again, check out his website and see what else is going on. They're coming out with some new designs, I know, right? Yep. Right. So that we're looking forward to seeing what him and his brother's brainchild comes up with next for the blade community. And so with that, guys, thanks so much. Check out the other video popping up. Subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber to the channel. Until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. See you out there.